Welcome to episode 6 of We've Done The MAFS, a Pedestrian TV vodcast. I'm Jules Rangihewe, and my gorgeous, intelligent co-host, podwife, Chantel Schmidt, can't be here in studio with me today. So I thought, I need to bring in the big guns. I need to bring in a reality star, a real one. I've got Anna McEvoy with me in studio today, season 2 of Love Island winner, but more importantly, a lover of all things Married at First Sight. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Back talking about reality television. Do you think you can't escape it?
You know what? Kind of, but I also secretly love it. Like MAFS, I am just loving this season and I need someone to talk all things MAFS with, so I'm excited to be here.
Can I get a pulse check? What is your initial, when I say MAFS this season to you, what's your initial knee-jerk reaction? Are you loving it? Are you hating it?
I'm loving it. I'm just like obsessed with Jessie and Claire. I think like I'm just so hooked on their relationship. But I know we're going to talk about that, so I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah.
Having been on reality television before, do you think you're more empathetic towards the characters than the average viewer?
Absolutely. And obviously we know there's an edit, so I'm always like looking out for little edit points. But at the same time, I do feel like I am a bit critical of some of the contestants on MAFS this year. I feel like the way that some of them has acted, I'm like, I don't want to give them any sort of passes. So yeah, I'm critical, but a little empathetic.
Mm-hmm. And do you think once producers have put you in a box and they've typecast you into a certain role, do you think, especially with Married at First Sight, it's almost impossible to break free from?
I definitely think so. I think they kind of know what type of character you're going to play. Sometimes people beat it, and I've seen that happen a little bit. I feel like Claire's kind of beat that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it is a little tricky. But great viewing nonetheless for the audience.
I have to ask, I wouldn't be doing my due diligence if I didn't ask about trying to kindle a spark in front of a nationwide audience.
Yeah.
When you're maybe having sexy time or you feel like getting horny. How the fuck do you do it in front of camera crew?
You know what? You just forget the camera's there. And I guess I was on Love Island and we were in there for like 7 weeks and you just kind of get absorbed in the environment. You really like, you can see all of the contestants. They really just like lunge themselves into the experience. And yeah, you get a bit caught up and you kind of like fall in love with the imagination of like the love story. And I'm such a hopeless romantic, so I was just like, I want to fall in love. Yeah. So you can definitely see some of them kind of like going down that route.
It's like falling in love with someone in Bali on the Kuta dance floor.
Exactly.
And you're like, this is my man. And no, that's not your man, but it can be for those 2 weeks, doll.
It's like a holiday romance, right? And you get to just see it all like with your like eyes, and yeah, it's fun to watch.
Okay, just a little girl question that I'm dying to ask. Periods in Love Island on those white sheets. How'd you deal?
You know what? There's actually cameras in the toilets as well, so it's actually worse than you could ever possibly imagine.
Are you mic'd up in the toilet too?
You can take your mic off, but there is a camera pointing directly at you.
You're joking. I'd be like, ah.
I literally would like put my head down. I was like, don't look at me. They're like, we promise we're not looking. I'm like, well, the fact that you're saying that, I know you're looking. It's wild.
Oh my God. Okay, so I guess you're saying like by that point of periods in bed, you're like, anything goes.
It's just tampons, and obviously a liner. And yeah, stay away from me tonight.
You're all good.
Cuddles only.
Although I love this chat, we have to talk about the week that was. We saw The Retreat and we had that dinner party. Shall we get into Bronte and Harrison?
I'm so excited. Let's do it.
So throughout this week, we mainly watched the destruction that was Cyclone Harrison.
Oh my God.
We saw it throughout The Retreat. We saw it with Bronte, things coming to an end. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen last night's episode. Let's talk about Harrison for a second. Yeah. And then I want to talk about the overarching subject, in my opinion, of losing yourself in a relationship. Harrison, thoughts, feelings?
He just gives me so much PTSD. I can't lie. I feel like we've all been in a toxic relationship and we've all been Bronte. And like, I just feel like the rose-colored glasses and the naivety, I'm just like, girlfriend, like open your eyes, see what's in front of you.
Because how old are you now?
I'm 30.
Okay, Bronte is 28. Do you think that is old enough? Should we give her some grace?
I don't know. I feel like at 28, she's said as well, like she's been through lots of toxic relationships. And I feel like, look, we've all done it, but you have to learn from your mistakes. And I guess like I feel like the girls were trying to tell her, and I just really, like as a viewer, really wanted her to listen. But yeah, I feel like she just thought everyone was self-sabotaging, which I thought was a bit bizarre, to be honest.
Do you know what infuriated me the most was that he ended things with her. Do you think that, I actually think watching the dinner party, I was like, I feel like half of those tears are because you look like a fool. I don't actually think that they were genuinely over the breakup.
You mean the crocodile tears?
The crocodile tears. Well, we've heard the voice messages, the voice notes.
Yeah.
So she knew before going on the experiment that if she was paired with him, it was going to be a fake relationship.
Yeah.
So that's what I have to keep reminding myself throughout viewing them this whole week, that she knew.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like he thinks he's on The Bold and the Beautiful. He's like signed up to the wrong show. Like his acting is so bad. He needs to have an acting class at least if he's going to try and act throughout a whole TV show. Like as a viewer, I can see straight through him, and it is, I mean, the fact that he was wearing a red shirt, I was like, that has to be set up by producers because it's just too good.
100%. Speaking of set up by producers, and we will talk about predictions, but what's scaring the fuck out of me is I think he's such a narcissist that he might write stay on Sunday and keep her there. Do you think?
I don't know. I'm so confused because like there was a part of me for a while that was like, their whole relationship is set up. Like this whole thing, they've kind of made a deal behind closed doors. But then I really kind of felt for her and kind of believed that she was really hurt. And I guess we know that Bronte's kind of like escape route is just to run. And he knows that. And the fact that he broke up with her over like just walking out and kind of is punishing her. I'm just like, he clearly wants to be on the show, right? So I feel like he's definitely going to say stay. I would be shocked if he says leave.
Talking about Bronte and Harrison, a huge kind of red flag for me was when she was apologising, when she said the secret and he goes, I wish you didn't say that. And she couldn't stop apologising to him. She had done nothing wrong.
No.
And we won't get too deep, but I feel like that is like entry level of an abusive relationship.
Absolutely.
Is when you're apologising for something that you're not wrong for.
Yeah.
What do you think some ways that he's low-key kind of been brainwashing her? Like, do you think it's the manipulation?
It's just the manipulation. It's just the flipping of the words. It's not listening to her. It's not giving her a voice. And you can see like Bronte at the start of the experiment was so bubbly and out there and full of life. And I feel like as each episode of this show has gone past, you've seen her become less and less vibrant. She's honestly become a shell of herself. And I think that every woman can relate to that. And as much as I'm like annoyed at her almost for letting him kind of manipulate her, I just feel genuinely so bad for her. And I'm so empathetic to that kind of situation.
Is that why we all hate Bronte though? I know I'm making that wild remark, but I'm just going to say, do we all hate Bronte because we're projecting?
I think we definitely are projecting because we hate the version of ourselves that is Bronte in front of us on our TV screens.
Do you think you've ever morphed into someone you're not dating the wrong person?
Absolutely.
And what
Absolutely.
did it look like?
It just looked like a less fun, exhausted, I feel like when you're in a relationship where you're getting gaslit consistently, slowly you just start to lose your fight, right? And she's lost her fight. She so has. We saw her on last night's episode and she just left. Like she couldn't take it anymore. So I hope that she doesn't take Harrison back. I'm really concerned that we are going to see her take him back if that's what he wants. But this is all on his terms. She has no say. She's just kind of like on the roller coaster of what is Harrison. I
got to ask, because that really concerns me, because now that you've said that, I can actually see that happening too. Do, you being on a show and all, do producers, do mental health experts at any time intervene?
It's so hard, right? Because there's definitely psychologists watching along in the sidelines. And on MAFS specifically, they have the 3 experts who are kind of there to give guidance and pull up bad behavior. And so I'm hoping that we're going to see a lot of pulling up of Harrison, because I feel like he's gotten off so lightly. And I feel like any time he almost gets pulled up by the group, and Claire did a really good job of it, he throws little bombs on everyone else's relationship, and you see other people start having dramas because of him, and you're like, guys, like, he is the main problem. He is the one that we should be focusing on. But time and time again, he's like mildly destroying other people's relationships, and it's so frustrating to watch as a viewer.
No, you're so correct. The Harrison effect of him just seeping, and I use that word because I hate it. He's seeping into everyone's brains.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw it with Jessie especially.
Yeah.
Jessie and Claire, do you think that there's still something there? You just said that you really liked them at the start. Can we talk about them for a second?
Absolutely. Jessie is my favourite. I just feel like he's such a great character for the show. And I mean, just on a side note, Jessie's been the main character in Claire throughout the whole experiment.
I low-key think that too.
Yeah, and it kind of feels like Harrison's realised that. He's got a bit of airtime through the Jessie drama, and then he's like, okay, I'm going to start destroying shit and blowing things up. And I feel like that's why Harrison's kind of gone on this rampage. I love Jessie and Claire. I was so sad when the cheating scandal happened. But I was really disappointed to see Claire not giving Jessie the reassurance that he needs. Obviously, he's going to have major trust issues because of what happened with the cheating. And I just felt like he didn't get the reassurance to maybe progress the relationship. Like, we kind of ended in a bit of limbo land with them. So I'm interested to see what happens there.
I think Jessie is on the money when he said, I know what you act like when you're with people that you genuinely like, talking about Adam, yuck.
Yeah,
and
yuck.
You don't like me. And he said it so beautifully. I'm not quoting him, but he did say something about like, in your heart of hearts, Claire, you truly don't like me.
Yeah.
And that rang so true, because you know what it's like when it's like you have a really good guy mate and you're like, fuck, could this be a thing? But you just can't get it going because there's something blocking it.
Yeah.
So no, I would be surprised if they both stayed on longer than this week. RIP.
Oh, no, I don't want to see them go. I don't know. There was a part of me that thought that maybe like, you know how when they went on their honeymoon and Jessie said some like stuff to Claire, maybe that put her walls up and like there's been a bit of back and forth. So the optimist in me is like somehow hoping that it isn't RIP to them.
I almost reckon they needed to fuck on the first night.
They probably did, yeah.
I am so
absolutely.
for fucking on the first day. But like, you know, they needed that attraction. I reckon there's so many guys that I like, if I didn't have sex with them, I'd be like, ew, rank. But you kind of like feel something for them, which is the worst advice probably ever in podcast land.
No, but it's weird. It's true, because like I feel like they are saying, oh, we're having a couple of kisses here and there. It just feels very slow. It's like, okay, guys, we're on like week 7, is it now?
Yeah.
Like, let's, probably just have sex.
Can we just talk about as well quickly Claire becoming the ultimate pick-me girl? And I'm like Claire #1 fan, as We've Done The MAFS listeners will know. Becoming a pick-me girl this week just to get into Jessie's good books, and I was like,
I thought it was cute.
Yeah, we've all been there. Yeah, but don't be like, oh my God, I love the AFL. I love the sport. I was like, we have all been there, gal. A standout hero for me this entire week has been Melinda.
Yeah, she's been great.
I was kind of like, fuck yes, go girl. She is so eloquent and so well put together. So I think I'm a bit more of a Claire, a bit more like, rawr. I'm just like that, that really crass. Yeah. But she's so like, no, these are the facts and this is wrong and this is right. I really, really loved her. Can I just say as well, Bronte. So Bronte is calling her out all week, just saying, you're so jealous of me, projecting. Who was the girl who was cradling her when she was crying over Harrison at the dinner party? It was Melinda.
It was.
And I just think that's a bigger comment about how we kind of treat our single friends when we're in those toxic relationships, and we're like, you wouldn't understand. They're our girlfriends who we call as soon as shit goes south.
One of my favourite parts of the episode was when Melinda and Evelyn actually went sneaking around and listened into the guys' conversation. Now, my co-host Matt on our podcast, Where's Your Head At? We've been debating this all day. He was totally against it and I was all for it. I was like, I mean, they're on TV, right? Everyone's going to actually listen to this conversation. Like, why not? What do you think about that?
Look, immediately I was like, producers have been like, girls stay there, boys start talking and go. Producers had set that up beautifully. Well done. I am actually against it, and not for the reasons that you're thinking.
Okay.
I'm more so against it because I don't want to hear the bad shit that has been said about me. I've gone through exes' phones before and it's not been good. So I feel like it's the same vibe. I don't need to know how horrible I am. I know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes it's better to just like, what's the word when you're like living
out of sight, out of mind, naivety.
Naivety, yeah, like what is it? Ignorance is bliss, right? And so, yeah, I am not really one for ignorance is bliss. I like to know the cold hard facts. So I would have been one of the girls sneaking over for sure. I would have definitely got around that. But yeah, the boys blew up over that. Like it felt like it was like they made it such a big deal when it wasn't in my eyes, but obviously.
Okay, wait. If the tables were turned and we were here and we were gasbagging about our husbands, and the door was slightly open and they were listening in and then they said, oh, we heard all of the conversation, what would be your knee-jerk reaction?
If I was on TV, I would be like, well, yeah, you were going to hear it anyway. It is what it is.
I saw the cameras in the bushes. If it
was in real life, I might have a different perspective.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's just because it's MAFS and there's cameras everywhere and they're all mic'd that I'm like, well, you probably should be accountable for what you say.
The second couple I want to talk about is Alyssa and Duncan.
Yeah.
I feel like this week might have been boring for producers or something because in my opinion, Bronte and Harrison and Alyssa and Duncan are two of the most boring couples. Do you agree?
Yeah. I was so confused by their drama. I was just like, it felt like a mountain out of a molehill.
Okay, is that your thought? So let's just explain to the viewers and the listeners what's happened. So this picture perfect couple, in my opinion, probably one of the strongest couples in there. We haven't seen any problems on the screen. Suddenly, Alyssa isn't having a bar of Duncan and saying, you don't show me attention, you should just know things. He's kind of acting like the typical male and saying, oh, I need you to show me, I can't mind read. I feel like I've had that conversation 1,000 times with my boyfriend. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. It was a hard one, right? Because they have been very picture perfect. There's always a part of me, and I can't help this, but I think it's because I've been on TV where I'm like, are they searching for airtime? Is this like a little setup thing where they're like, you know, we're going too well? You know, when couples are going really well, they don't get a lot of airtime, and we've seen that throughout the series.
Ollie and Tani.
Yeah, like I forget their names sometimes. It sounds so bad because I'm so all over all of the other couples. But yeah, it's a hard one. It could be, if it's not that, it could just be insecurities that maybe like smaller, littler issues have been happening behind closed doors. And then they've kind of just like caught this one on camera.
But that's what I don't like about this series. And we had Dom and Ella on. Yeah. And Dom hit the nail on the head. She was like, there's a new producer and you can so tell because it feels so disjointed. And all of this drama is suddenly off screen. And it's so true because when I think about it, I'm not a true ride or die for any of these characters because I haven't watched their storyline truly play out.
You've not invested. Yeah.
Yes. But back to Alyssa and Duncan. Just a tidbit for you, Endemol Shine. But back to Alyssa and Duncan. As much as we dislike Alyssa as a general collective, once again, a huge broad statement, but I'm sticking by it. I feel like we have sort of all been there when we've just let our insecurities run wild and sabotage something really good. Can you relate?
Absolutely. I mean, Duncan is a great guy, isn't he? Like he's just like, do you think?
I think he's the sexiest person I've ever laid eyes on.
Sexy, emotionally mature. Like there's nothing more like hot than that other than the fact that he looks gorgeous. But yeah, I feel like I kind of have been there and I'm kind of embarrassed to admit it. But
You've been Alyssa?
I've been Alyssa. And I think we can all kind of relate where like you have an amazing guy and you kind of like test the waters just to get the reassurance that you want. And it's very unemotionally mature in comparison to how he's dealing with situations. But I think she just needs like the constant reassurance. And I think, I mean, I can only speak for myself. I'm guilty of that. But I do see them lasting. I have to say.
Do you?
Yeah.
My
do
heart
you
breaks.
not?
Only for me because
For yourself.
he's so hot. See, I am the Duncan in this relationship. I have a gorgeous partner now, and he constantly wants more reassurance. And I really struggle with affection and words of affirmation. That's his like top two. So I can understand, and I hate that I can understand where Duncan's coming from, but the younger version 100% was Alyssa. And I think as well, once you feel like your partner's not making an effort with you, you start to like put little tests everywhere. So
Totally.
I used to say like, all right, dinner's at 7:10, be there. And if it wasn't 7, like if he came at 7:12, I'd be off it. Just things that like become impossible. Yeah. So I think that's where they're at now. But I mean, we saw Sunday night at the commitment ceremony, she walks off.
Yeah.
I don't see them lasting.
Really?
I feel like she's got a lot of internal work that she has to do.
Yeah.
Like all of us do, but she is projecting a lot on this show.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like in relationships you need to have light and shade, right? And I feel like they really complement each other really well with that. Yeah. I hope they last. But we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah.
I really don't see them having any like major issues. Like I think what we saw with the whole like not visiting him at the tennis court, or what was it? I honestly, it's so irrelevant that I'm not even like, it's lost my mind. I hate to go back in time, but like I hated it when Alyssa was getting annoyed with him and trying to like tell him what to do with who he was talking to and stuff. That was like a big red flag for me.
Agreed.
And a boundary that I think he kind of set, but not strong enough. So I don't want her to walk all over him, but yeah.
I think as well, it appears that when she sees red, she truly sees red. We saw it at the retreat when she was like, don't touch me, blah, 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 which once again, we've all been there in the back of the car whether it was kind of her way or the highway. And it just seems like he is just so not that type of guy. I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong, but I do think they're not compatible.
Really? See, I see red and like I feel like sometimes when you see red you need like a calming influence, and I see him as that. So I guess that's why I'm kind of thinking they could stay together.
Well, let's see. Duncan, you're welcome to come on and prove me wrong. It's my favourite and most important time of the episode when we play Fuck, Marry, Leave at the Altar.
Oh, cool.
Who, just out of the grooms for now, who were you choosing?
Okay. So starting with fuck,
Whatever.
would have to be, do I want to marry or fuck Jesse? That's the question. Jesse's my favourite, obviously. I'd probably marry Jesse because I feel like he's such a sweetheart and I just love his quirkiness. Leave at the altar, Harrison for sure. Biggest walking red flag in there. And who am I fucking? I think I'd have to say Duncan. We both said it. He's beautiful.
No, you're too stunning, damn it.
No, I'm engaged. It's all you.
Oh, good. Okay, just me, Duncan. Would you fuck any of them? Like, are they all your types of guys? You said Jesse, it looks like your fiance, hey?
Yeah, Jesse's definitely like my type. When I watch MAFS with my fiance, he like covers my eyes.
Really?
But yeah, we look from afar and we appreciate him and Claire together. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm definitely staying tuned to see how that all unfolds.
Okay, predictions for this season. Who do we think is genuine? Who do we think is staying together post-show? Post-Instagram following, shall I say?
I feel like the ones who are going to stay together are the ones that I don't even know their names.
What?
Because they're like they're doing so well that I've like forgot.
So you mean the ones that are under the radar?
Totally, yeah. I mean, Harrison, he's just in the bin, non-recyclable, catch you never.
Well, Tanya and Ollie definitely stay together.
I think so.
Well, I saw them in Bunnings together in Alexandria like a week ago.
Cool. So they're staying together.
So they're staying together.
I could see that one coming a mile away for sure.
Can I ask contract-wise? I was asking Dom and Ella, are they not supposed to break it? Because they are just out everywhere.
You know what? This season has been a bit wild. Like a lot of the MAFS casts have been breaking their contracts. And I hate to say it, but it's kind of ruining it for the viewers. So maybe Channel 9 need to put a stronger contract in place because I don't think they should be walking around.
Yeah, it is ruining it.
A little bit. But also like It's kind of fun finding out.
Well, it's fun following them on
cake and
Instagram
eating it.
and just seeing what their actual life is like once they, leave the experiment.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all we've got time for. That was another episode of We've Done The MAFS, a Pedestrian TV vodcast. You can follow us wherever you get your podcast and follow Chantel's write-ups in the show notes. Thanks so much for joining us. Bye.